What I believe is that each person has an authentic sexual identity, as distinct as a fingerprint and as inherent as your eye color. It's unique to you. And this is why the definition needs to stay loose, because these are very personal expressions. You know, there is no one who can tell you what's right and what's wrong except yourself in terms of how you identify or what your desires look like and who you want to engage. It's personal. It's nobody else's business how you conduct your personal expression, as long as you're being transparent, negotiable, consensual, risk-aware, and bringing those kinds of elements into, you can go to some really edgy kind of places with that kind of foundational context, with a willing and consenting partner. So this is what is standing in the way, is in the sex-negative culture that we're in, we're not encouraged or allowed to have honest conversations with our partners about what our desires actually look like, or what we'd like to try and experiment and explore, because most of this is going to be experimental because we're right at the front edge and most people haven't really gone very far down the path. So welcome that as an exploration. You know, you don't need to know exactly where you're going. You just start slow and at a reasonable pace, and with a partner who's willing to engage with you, that will allow this to unfold in a healthy way. Versus if we don't do that, then we're putting our sexuality into what I call sexual shadow. And in the sexual shadow realm, this is where it's coming out with infidelities and sneaking and hiding and cheating on your partner, and all because the people aren't having an honest conversation about what their desires are. The desire themselves are just what someone desires. How they express them is really the issue. Are they doing it in an honest, upfront, ethical, agreed upon way, or are they out of fear? There's a whole chunk of that shadow sexuality that's really driven by shame and fear of someone else knowing what your truth might be. And so people then hide and sneak and, don't want to be in the light, because it can be scary, it can be harmful. There can be consequences, even in this time. The culture of the gay and lesbian communities, about 50 years or so ahead of where fetish sexuality and these other emerging sexualities are in terms of standing up for their rights. Everyone has a right to be who they are in all regards, but in particular in their sexuality. And there's been a fight for millennium to not allow that. Sex has been kept off into the red light district, into the back alleys, and the underworld, except for the aristocracy. The jet setters of every age for millennium have all indulged in the most decadent aspects of sexuality and all sensual pleasures, while the masses have been, told to be good boys and girls, or God will punish you, or that's not the way we do things. I mean, I have the experience with my clients. It's not unusual for a client to contact me and say, Galen, I've never told anyone this before. And whatever, ... whatever that might be. As simple as just, I have a desire to be spanked. And I'm talking about people in their 40s and 50s, often, who for that long, that many decades, 5 decades, have hidden this very fundamental, authentic part of themselves. And they're so afraid of anybody knowing that it's taken them this long to be able to get to the point where they understand, because your sexuality is relentless. It doesn't go away. It's not going to disappear. You can't hide it. You can't shove it down. You can't cut it off. It is part of you through your lifespan. So this is the advocacy that I'm standing up for is to encourage a environment, a community, a culture where sexual honesty is the norm, rather than the sexual dishonesty that we're currently embedded in.